Hello and welcome to Unpreachy, a podcast of homilies and reflections from St. John Chrysostom Parish. Today, Father Brian Zumbrum reflects on Mark chapter 10, verses 2 to 16. The Gospel reading for Sunday, October 6, 2024.
So at Salesianum, we have this referral process where anyone can share concerns about a student they're worried about. It can be a parent or a peer, a teacher or a coach. And as a member of the student support team, I get notified whenever these referrals get submitted. So over the years, I've read hundreds of them. And I'm always really moved by them. For in each one, I watch as a young man gets clearly seen. The good and the bad, the dark and the light. It is seen by someone who cares about them. Someone who desires their well-being, who intends to walk beside them as they get through this difficult season. Every referral I read feels like the gentle reminder of the truth proclaimed in the book of Genesis. We are not meant to be alone. There is so much power in being seen. Seen in all of our complexity, with our needs and our hopes, our dreams and our fears, our failures and our successes. And it is this power of seeing that Jesus wields in unlikely ways in our gospel for today. Because this is a gospel that doesn't fall easily on our contemporary ears. For the prohibition of divorce seems the exact opposite of what we're speaking tonight. For doesn't Jesus see how complex married life can be? The ways relationships form and break apart? All the complex reasons that lead couples to separate? Does he not see each married couple for who they are and who they're striving to be? But what if we're missing something? What if we're not seeing a key component to Jesus' teaching? Because Jesus knew at his time that a married woman had no power and no recourse. They were property, exchanged between men, by men, and for men. And the question posed and Moses' answer is very clear. A man could dismiss his wife. There was no mutuality, no common discernment. There was not a situation of two equals deciding to go in different directions. For Jesus saw quite clearly what happened to divorce, a situation in which women and children were suddenly cast off and left destitute, no support system, no one who seemingly cared. But Jesus did. Jesus saw those most marginalized, those most impacted by the religious rules of his day, and he challenged the status quo on their behalf, to walk beside them, to accompany them through good and bad, dark and light. My friends, these readings today are an invitation for each of us to see the world as Jesus sees it, to gaze upon the world with eyes that search for those on the borders of our own lives, to gaze upon them with eyes of love and work to build a world in which they flourish. It is to gaze upon the world with eyes that brim with compassion for all those whose lives have not gone the way they planned, for those in marriages that are difficult, and for those whose marriages have ended, for those who have lost a spouse, and those who never found someone to form a home with, for those who are lonely and lost, for those who are wounded and enraged. It's to gaze upon the world with eyes that still sparkle with wonder at the beauty and majesty that is each human person. That's not frightened by the darkness found in another's life, and that delights in gratitude for the light that shines on them and within them. Tonight, my friends, we are asked to see. to see the goodness of creation that is entrusted into our hands, to see the goodness of each other made in God's image, to see the goodness in ourselves as the irrepeatable gifts we are to the universe. Open our eyes, Lord. Help us to see your face. May God be praised.
Unpreachy is a production of St. John Chrysostom Parish in Wallingford, Pennsylvania. Visit us at sjcparish.org. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. This podcast was produced by Brendan Lorden with music by Skytoes on Upbeat. Thanks for listening. Be well.